The 2022 MLB playoffs are officially underway, and because of that, I don't want to waste any time. Let's go ahead and get into the video and talk about who will be your champion in 2022. Obviously, let's get my first pick out the way. I can't promise I'm going to be completely unbiased towards the end of today's video, but obviously I'm going with the Guardians in round number 1 versus the Tampa Bay Rays. And not only because I'm a Cleveland fan, but I truly think that they have been playing better baseball coming into the series. Yes, they got back Wander Franco and Tyler Glasnow over the last 2 weeks, but it didn't really mean much because they played some of the worst baseball of the year. The Guardians, they beat them in a series a few weeks ago. I love Bieber, McKenzie. I like the lineup. It's going to be chippy. I think that J-Ram is going to have a fantastic series. So for me, Tampa Bay versus Cleveland, I'm going with the Guardians in 2 games. I think it's going to be a sweep. Now, if you're a Blue Jays fan or a Mariners fan, don't go anywhere. We're going to talk about you guys after the Phillies and the Cardinals. This is definitely going to be one of the harder picks of the entire video because I feel like these two teams are very evenly matched. A really good lineup. The defense obviously is going to favor the Cardinals, but the bullpens, everything else really that has to do with base running, these two teams are very similar. They're home run happy at times in terms of scoring runs, but for me, I like the overall roster of the St. Louis Cardinals just a little bit better than the Phillies. The Phillies, they kind of give feast or famine vibes, and I'm sorry to say vibes, but that will be a factor in today's video. I like the vibes of the Guardians a little bit better because they've been playing better. I like the Cardinals, even though they didn't end the season on fire or anything, but I just like the way that they've been playing. Bryce Harper is a little bit cold since returning from his thumb injury. So for me, the Redbirds, I believe they win in 3 games, but the Phillies, I don't know if they advance. Let me know. The Mariners versus the Blue Jays. This is going to be one of the best series and most exciting, entertaining series of the last few years, in my opinion. Luis Castillo versus the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays have a lot of question marks in terms of their pitching staff. Gosman, he's been shaky a little bit in terms of health. Jose Barrios has been a garbage can this year, but can he bounce back? He's got a lot of money. He does have a high ceiling when he's on top of his game, but the same can be said about the Mariners. Again, I brought this up already. The vibes. Everyone loves the Mariners. Right now, you can make an argument that they are America's team, the underdog. Everyone is cheering for them after missing the playoffs for 2+ decades. They have J-Rod. They have Luis Castillo. Robbie Ray, he won the Cy Young. I know that he gives up a home run every so often, but I like Robbie Ray, George Kirby, Logan Gilbert. The Mariners, for me, are taking this series. I think it's going to be a bloodbath, though. I truly believe that this is going to go 3 games. So, in my opinion, I believe that the Guardians are going to be facing off against the Yankees, and the Mariners will be taking on the Astros, which, again, will be super entertaining. But that's not to take away what the Blue Jays have done. I want to reiterate, their staff is incredible when they're on top of their game with Barrios, Alek Manoah, you have Kevin Gosman. If those guys perform well, I could be completely wrong, and I'll have nothing to say about it. The Blue Jays are a great team. And last, for the first round, we're going to go back to the National League. This is going to be an absolute migraine for both franchises and their fan bases. The Padres and the Mets. The Mets, obviously, they have that 2-headed monster in Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer, so clearly they have the advantage. So I'm going to go with the Mets, but the Padres, don't discount them. Manny Machado had an MVP season. Ha-Seong Kim, he's no Fernando Tatis Jr., but he's had a better season than his rookie year. Jake Cronenworth is really good. I love Joe Musgrove and Blake Snell as a back-to-back with Yu Darvish, who had a 3.5 ERA. And quality starts, whether you want to believe it or not, they do win you games in the postseason. I mean, honestly, I feel like the Padres could shock the world, but the Mets, I'm going with them. So to recap, I have the Guardians, the Mariners, the Redbirds, and the Mets moving on. So that means the Mets will be facing off against the Dodgers. Let's talk about that series real quick. To me, I hate to make it sound like an easy series, but I just don't see how anyone is going to beat the Dodgers in the National League, aside from maybe the Braves. So for me, I am going with the Dodgers just because I like Tony Gonsolin. Julio Urias almost had a sub-2 ERA. He was absolutely out of his mind all year long. They have the bullpen, they have the lineup. I mean, the Dodgers all the way around are a better team than the Mets, and honestly, they've just been playing so well, they don't have the doubt in the back of their mind. They're ready, and they're going to come for the Mets real hard. Pause. We'll get back to the Cardinals versus the Braves in just a moment, but let's talk about the Mariners versus the Astros before we talk about the Guardians and the Yankees. In my opinion, the Astros are very much like the Dodgers. I don't know how anyone is going to beat this super team. 106 wins. They have Justin Verlander, 39-year-old, coming off of Tommy John, going to win the Cy Young. They have Framber Valdez, who set an MLB record for most quality starts in a row. They have Jose Altuve, Kyle Tucker, Jeremy Pena. They're absolutely locked and loaded. I haven't even mentioned Yordan Alvarez in a breakout season yet again from Alex Bregman. You're not beating this team. I'm sorry, Mariners fans. The Astros are moving on. The Guardians versus The Yankees. This is where a lot of you are going to be saying, Fuzzy, you are an absolute homer. You have no idea what you're talking about. You are not sticking to the objective facts. You're right. I am going to yet again bring up this word, vibes. Yes, I'm doing it again. The Guardians are beating the Yankees in my humble opinion, and that's simply because I believe that the Guardians have the baseball gods on their side this year. No one expected them to be the first place team, let alone the youngest team in baseball in 22 games over 500. I mean, even as a Guardians fanboy, I wasn't expecting that great of a season. Steven Kwan, Andres Jimenez, Ahmed Rosario, Josh Naylor, so many breakout seasons on the offensive side of things. And then pitching, you got Bieber, you have McKenzie, you have Cal Quantrill. Those are three really good starters. So I guess the biggest thing is if the Guardians sweep the Rays, they will have extra rest going into the Yankees series, which will mean more. Then again, the Yankees, they have Garrett Cole. They have Luis Severino throwing 99 again, almost throwing a no-hitter in his last start. You have Nestor Cortez, Nasty Nestor with Aaron Judge. Matt Carpenter's on the squad. I love Oswald Peraza and Oswaldo Cabrera. All of the pieces are in place for the Yankees to win. I'm just not going to pick them because I'm a biased Cleveland fan. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate, but that's my opinion. And then last but not least, for the second round of the division series, we have the Redbirds taking on the Braves. No disrespect to the Cardinals, but the Braves are even better than they were last year when they won the World Series. So for me, I really like Charlie Morton even as a 3 or 4 starter, but you have Spencer Strider. You have all of the guys in that rotation along with Rookie of the Year favorites like Michael Harris. Vaughn Grissom is not going to be in the Rookie of the Year conversation, but he's really good. I've even seen Ozzie Albies out there taking some ground balls. Now, he's probably not going to be healthy enough to return in the second round, but I love the Braves. So before we talk about the Guardians facing off against the Astros in the ALCS, let's talk about Kenley Jansen facing off against his former team, and the same with Craig Kimbrell facing off against the team that he grew up with, basically. So the Braves and the Dodgers, this is going to be an epic series, a classic in my opinion. The Braves, they check off all the boxes. The Dodgers, obviously the 4th most wins in the history of baseball with 111. Now, as much as I want the Braves to make it to the World Series, I believe that it's going to be the Dodgers. Mookie Betts has been there, done that. Freddie Freeman, obviously with the Braves last year, I didn't even mention that Freddie Freeman would be facing off against his former team. So that is something that I'd have to keep in mind, a matchup that it's going to get personal. It definitely is. You can't hide from that. So the Braves and the Dodgers, again, I have the Dodgers going to the World Series. All right, here we go. Let's see if Fanboy Fuzzy is going to, of course, I'm not going to pick the Guardians over the Astros. I'm not picking anyone over the Astros. As much as I want to believe in the magic of Believeland, the Guardians' inaugural year, I can't get over the fact that the Astros are literally a juggernaut, the AL version of the Dodgers, in my opinion. 106 wins without banging on trash cans, without any of that cheating stuff. My respect for the Houston organization has steadily gone up and up and up since it was discovered that they had that 2017 debacle. A lot of people are never going to give them that respect, but I mean, you can't take anything away from what Kyle Tucker, Yordan Alvarez, Bregman, Verlander, the bullpen with Presley and all of these different dudes. They're a perfect team in my opinion. So I will tip my cap to the Cleveland Guardians. I believe that they will beat the Yankees in a magic series. But when it comes to the Houston Astros, just not enough firepower. So for me, an epic matchup, a redo of the 2017 World Series is about to happen. The Astros and the Dodgers, I can't wait. And you know what I think is going to happen? The Dodgers versus the Astros, the Uno reverse card will be played, and the Dodgers will have a draw 4 put down on the Astros. I think the Dodgers will win in 6 games, and in my opinion, that's how the 2022 playoffs are going to go. My reasoning is pretty simple. I just don't know how you're going to be a historically good roster like the Dodgers. I mean, they have the offense. They have MVPs. They have guys that have been to the playoffs before as starting pitchers, and they have so many starters that they've been pushed and relegated to the bullpen. So the bullpen is fine. You have speed on the bases. You have contact hitters. You have good defense. I don't know what Joey Gallo is going to be doing as a pinch hitter, but they have Joey Gallo for defense if they need him. Chris Taylor, he's been great in the playoffs before. I just love Clayton Kershaw's chances of winning a second chip. So for me, the Astros, they're going to put up a fight, but it will be the Dodgers in 6 games. Well, everyone, that does it for today's video. Let me know your predictions in the comments below. Again, if you're a Yankees fan and you think that I'm biased, it's because I am. Also, I just really like the Guardians roster and their overall confidence in themselves. And when you're in the playoffs, confidence is in fact key. So I appreciate you guys watching. Let me know your spicy takes in the comments, and I'll catch you guys later for another video.